Hello, everybody. Let me move this over here. Hello, everyone. Oh, my. I'm a little small. Let me make myself bigger. There we go. I'm a little bit bigger now. Bear with me, guys. You would think that this is my first rodeo. There we go. How's everybody doing? How's everybody doing tonight? Oh, goodness. I don't want it to be that big. Good Lord, help me. All right. Greetings, Sarah S. Marie. Hey, Misty Moon. How are you, baby? Tawanda, hello. Sarah, SR, Sassy, Dee Dee. Hello, Janelle. Hello, everyone. So, thank you guys for coming. For those of you who are going to be watching this later, gosh, when I move stuff around, good Lord help me. My name is Lisa, and this is Heart of Inspiration. And here at this channel, we help you lead a spirit-led, whole and healed, peaceful, and prosperous life. Some of you may have seen my morning video today from the car. As you can tell, my voice is almost back, you guys. I'm so excited. Because this whole new moon in Scorpio is really, this lunar cycle in Scorpio period is crazy. I'm just not gonna lie to you. It is intense. You guys might as well just mark it down that from here forward, the rest of the lunar cycles throughout the rest of definitely the calendar year 2019, and then into the remainder of the astrological calendar into Aries season of 2020 is going to be very, very, very intense, because there's a lot of very critical lessons and skills that we need to learn to operate as a spirit-led being. Okay? To operate as a spirit-led being. I talked on Sunday about what that means to be spirit-led, or what, the astrological way of looking at it, esoterical way of looking at the astrology of being spirit-led. And in the practical, if you will, way of being spirit-led, really it's acknowledging your spirit person, your true self first, right? And listening to that small, still voice that's within. And allowing the small, still voice, your spirit, to lead and guide you as you go through life. Okay? So that's the main gist of it. I chose the symbolism of an eaglet and a mama eagle, teaching that eaglet how to fly for a very specific reason. I really feel strongly that this Scorpio season is all about us getting out of our nest, out of our comfort zone. And part of that comfort zone, hey Jeanette, part of our comfort zone is the people that are around us. It is is our creature comforts, right? The material things that we hold on to so dearly, so tightly, all of that. And somehow learning to not depend on those things, and really get to a point where we are operating at a higher level of discernment, of discerning who should be in our lives, what should be in our lives, how we're to move in this third dimensional world, how to create in this third dimensional world when it looks like there's nothing to create from. You know what I mean? Like, how to be this co-creator. And we've been talking about this for so long. Like, I feel like I feel like a broken record sometimes, but I really feel but this is really a lesson that we absolutely have to learn. And it's time for us to get out of the nest. I apologize. I'm still dealing with a little bit of that cold. All right, so I have like notes, y'all. I mean, last night I was doing a lot of studying, um, and really channeling the message. So I have a few pages of notes. We're going to get through this as quickly as possible, and we're going to move on over. Now, before I move over there to the other screen, I want to put this out there. And I won't be, unfortunately, looking at the chat, guys. I'm just going to be delivering the message, okay? Just so we're clear. I don't want anyone to get upset, but I'll take a peek at the chat a little bit later. I do offer lunar cycle readings, okay? I need to tell you that, guys, that I'm a Cancer, so I am very much into the moon. I'm a moon child, okay? A moon child. So I'm very much, the moon is my ruling illuminary. So I wanted to offer these lunar cycle forecasts, and it really gives me an opportunity to go into your chart and to then, from your own personal natal chart, look at the cycles as they are, and cultivate and really tune into what it is that you on a personal level should be at the new moon, should be seeking to manifest, right? And at the full moon that you're to release, that should be coming into full manifestation. Hey Nita, hey Christy. Okay, so I do offer that. I offer two ways. You can go to heartofinspiration.net right now, click on after this live, and click on personalized lunar cycle forecast. You will get a personalized reading for the new and for the full moon. For that same amount of money, though, you can say, hey Lise, you know, those of you that have already been receiving them, you know how powerful they can be. So you can go to my patreon.com/heartofinspiration, and there is oh gosh, I think it's Starry Heart or something like that. But there's a tier that's specifically for the astrological, the lunar cycle readings. You could get that then once every month, every zodiac cycle for $30 a month. And if you do that on Patreon this month, I will throw in a natal chart interpretation as well, which is typically $19.95. Okay, because I need that information anyway. So in order to get those, for them to be extremely accurate, I need time, date, and place of birth. If you have date and place of birth, but not the time, I can do some of it. Okay? But it'll be very accurate if we can get that. Thank you, Christy. Yeah, oh yeah, that's right. Your North Node is in Scorpio, child. Any Husenheimer. Okay, so that's what we've done. And guys, please, thank you very much. Those of you watching new, thank you for coming. Please consider liking, subscribing, and please do share this video, guys. And for my current subscribers, thank you so much for supporting me. All right, guys, let's get into, I'm going to put this down here. Let's get into the chart. All right. You guys might have to put this on full screen so you can see it a little bit better. I apologize. So this is what the natal chart is gonna, or what the transit chart will look like at the time of the new moon. The new moon is going to happen, I call it the 27th and the 28th, because it overseas in London. It'll be at 3:38 a.m., which then, like, roll it back 5 hours would be 3 is 12, so 10:38 p.m. Eastern, 9:38 p.m. Central, 7:38 p.m. Pacific on the 27th. So it's kind of crossing this time date. That's a whole nother thing that we can talk about. So you guys already know that what some of you may know, and if you don't, I'm going to explain it to you. What is a new moon? A new moon is when the sun and the moon are conjunct. So let me, I think it should write. So we have down here in Scorpio, crud. Here we go. Sorry, guys. All right, here we go. Here we have down here in Scorpio, the sun and the moon conjunct. At 4 degrees. Okay. So that means that you're not going to, we never see the new moon, right? Because the moon itself is an illuminary and it is a reflection of the sun. So at the new moon, when they're conjunct, they're not opposing. The full moon is when they're opposing. So it's full illumination, a full mirroring of our emotions and how we should feel about a thing, and where we should really release our energy towards a particular set of events, or whatever it is what we're seeking to manifest. Um, this new moon is very, 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 very significant, because over here in uh, in Uranus, which is Scorpio's opposing sign, I mean in Taurus, excuse me, which is Scorpio's opposing sign, the new moon and the moon and the sun then will be directly opposite at 4 degrees of Uranus while in retrograde. And I want to sit there for a second, because that's really the main transit, the main issue that we're facing. Okay? I'm going to turn on this here so I can actually see the chat. Bear with me one second, guys. I'm so sorry. Okay. Good evening, Giggle. That's the main transit that's happening. That is highly significant. Now, I'm going to talk about Uranus first, because we don't talk about that planet enough. Most of us don't know enough about Uranus. If you know anything about astrology, you know that Uranus does rule Aquarius, and we'll kind of get into that a little bit. But I really want to talk about Uranus, the planet, the energy that Uranus represents. Then we're going to talk about Scorpio, and then we're going to talk about Taurus, and then you'll see why I'm like, this is really the time for you to get your tail. You are getting kicked out the nest. Now, that picture that I showed with the little eaglet and then the mama eagle standing overhead, you know, that mama eagle was looking at the eaglet like, okay, you know what? It's about time for you to get on up out here. It's time for you to fly. And that's what Spirit is saying. It's time for y'all to fly. All right, Uranus, the god, okay? Uranus is named after a Greek god. Now, Uranus itself is that story, you can look at the mythology of Uranus if you would like. Uranus represents the unusual aspects of life, okay? The unusual aspects of life. It represents inventive power. It represents change, sudden, not transformative like Scorpio. Scorpio is transformative. This is sudden, abrupt change. It represents tension, revolution, riots. This is violent change. It represents this deep desire for freedom. If you think about, why does group of people, why do they revolt? Why do they riot? Because in some form or fashion, they've been wronged and their freedoms have been squashed or taken away or restricted. Uranus itself, Uranus is in mythology, is known as the father of the gods. And that with Mother Earth, Gaia, birthed or gave birth to or fathered Saturn, Jupiter, Mercury, like all the other, right? Birth Saturn and Jupiter in specificity. But the sons of Uranus then revolted against him. So because of Uranus kind of got to this point where it was he almost wanted to restrict. He wanted to do whatever he wanted to do at the cost of everything else, right? At the cost of everything else. He didn't listen, didn't care. what he thought was for the higher, greater good. Uranus is the higher octave of Mercury. So when we think about Mercury and communication and inventiveness and, travel and all of this kind of thing, Uranus is the higher octave. It's that godlike conversation. And it is change that energy represents change that is meant to rip away everything for the sake of bringing you or bringing us as a collective up to this higher knowledge, this greater good, this higher knowledge, this stop looking. Mercury is very personal, right? Very personal energy. It rules both Gemini and Virgo. So it is a person, those are both personal zodiac signs, right? That's still dealing in the first half of the zodiac. Uranus is that higher octave, like what's great for the collective? What information do I have to get to the collective? And what collectively absolutely has to change? Uranus is the innovator, the reformer. And it always creates contemporary forms. So, like the Reformation, the Protestant Reformation was during a major Uranus transit where Martin Luther, right, posted Bible verses out on doors where before only Catholic priests were allowed to read the Bible and possess the Bible. Martin Luther, the founder of the Lutheran Church, made it public. We're talking about massive reformation. It rules the radical and the metaphysical. Uranus requires us to stretch beyond our vision and lean into belief. Time to get out of the nest. Time to get out of the nest. Stretch your third dimensional vision and lean instead into belief. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy path. It's the very same energy we're talking about here. Hey, Trinae. So this Uranus opposition to Scorpio and the sun and the moon. Let me continue on. Uranus also represents freedom, an ultimate freedom, rebellion against the norm. It's also the planet of platonic love, not romantic, platonic love. So we'll get into that about relationships in a minute. And Uranus can awaken the humanitarian spirit. So I want us to sit there for a second and let's also look at the fact that it is in, here we go, it is in the house of Taurus. Okay? Taurus is the second house. It's all about money, work, income, our daily routines, our values, and material possessions. This is all, and it also represents the sixth chakra. Taurus, as a zodiac sign, rules the throat, the thyroid, right? Everything here. It rules the sixth chakra. That's very important. That is a higher chakra. We have a higher metaphysical planet in a retrograde in the sixth chakra, where our values reside, our routine resides, our material possessions, our money, our work, our income, things that we hold dear. And remember, Uranus is asking us, Uranus's energy, the representation of it is to let go, get rid of, walk away from, reform your standard beliefs, your standard values, get out of the third dimension and look unto the heavens, look unto the spirit, hear what your spirit in conjunction with God, with Supreme Spirit, with the universe is trying to say. What are you trying to create, and what are you supposed to be speaking over yourself? This time of retrograde right now is giving you an opportunity to change your words once again, and not only just change your words like we've been talking about all this time, and change how you're going to manifest things and what you speak over yourself and feel about yourself and say it to yourself. But change your words and what you speak in regard to your very values. It's time to come out of the closet. It's time to come out of the nest. It's time to come out of hiding with your values and your beliefs. And what your real truth is. It's time to redo, reform, and get some freedom in regard to your personal space, your money, your income, your values, your material possessions. What if instead of always having to depend upon your job for your income, or whether or not you have one, or somebody else for your income, you finally get to the point where you can speak it out of your mouth and you know that it's going to be? What if we could do that? Because guess what? You can. What if you could finally step into your spiritual purpose, into your spiritual personal power, and speak into existence that which is not seen right here today? What if you could do that? Hello, Miss Raina. Uranus is saying you can. Uranus is in retrograde in Taurus saying, can you please finally have your own personal reformation and break free? And stop letting people hold you back and hold you down, primarily yourself. I told y'all this is a very big, big, big new moon. This is a huge lunar cycle. Huge lunar cycle. Now, I'm going to flip that back. Now we know what Uranus and Taurus is doing over there for the collective, right? Let's go back across the street here. Meanwhile, on the other side of the street, here we have... Now, this is not officially a stellium, because Mercury and Venus are too far away from the sun and the moon at 4 degrees. Mercury and Venus are at, Venus is at 24 degrees and Mercury's at 26. So it's too far away to be considered a stellium, really. They're not really close enough. However, we have the moon and the sun in Scorpio. Anytime we have a new moon, this is how I also view a new moon. The moon is void. Right? You can't see it. It's kind of hidden. It's chilling out with the sun. Buddy right here. That always allows us to look at things for what they are without being overly emotional about them. That gives us a moment to breathe and say, before I put my energy into motion in regard to this situation, I'm going to take a step back and I'm going to look at it objectively in the sunlight. And then I'm going to take the information I get in the sunlight, and as the moon is then traveling around before it becomes in opposition, I'll be able to formulate how I'm truly supposed to feel about it, so that I can truly put the energy in into motion in the way I'm supposed to honestly do it. Because I'm going to tell you what's going to end up happening here. Is that at some point the moon's going to be conjunct with Uranus. It's not going to be fully conjunct, like dead on, by the time we get the full moon. But we're going to experience a real shake up with our emotions over the next couple of weeks. So just get ready. Strap in, babies. Now, with this sun over here, conjunct the moon in Scorpio. What does Scorpio represent to us? Scorpio is fixed water. Taurus is fixed earth. Okay, I'm going to go back. Pause, rewind. Uranus in a fixed earth sign, wanting you to really change your foundational beliefs. Those things that have been, I used to call them in the church, sacred cows. It's time to get rid of them sacred cows. Let's all have a few T-bones and a couple porterhouses, okay? It's time to kill them sacred cows. We got to get over it. Now, Scorpio, fixed water. Scorpio is extremely clairvoyant, right? That's a water sign. All of us water signs are clairvoyant and intuitive. Scorpios, though, are interesting of all the water signs. Of all the water signs, Scorpios are very interesting because Scorpios play chess. Okay? They do a lot of investigation. They get a hunch and then they follow it. They lie in wait until it's time to strike. And they do it when it's least expected. Scorpios are calculated. Scorpios know what they want and they're not afraid to work hard to get it. And they play the long game. So what we do in this lunar phase right now, and the solar phase of Scorpio, this is for the long game. You've got an outer planet, Uranus, that's typical. You can't see it with the naked eye. Okay? You can't see it with the naked eye. You also can't see Pluto with the naked eye. So this is all that deep down underneath, the deep dark stuff that we don't necessarily always want to see, but it's down there. We got to look at it. And it's that long game. See, Scorpio, it's like, you know how you be like in a situation with somebody and you be like, you know what, I know you full of crap, but I'm gonna wait. I might not can't get you right now. I might not can't get out of this situation right today, but trust and believe, baby, I'm finna get out of it. I got to play the long game because I got to come out ahead. The long game. Scorpios in that long game. They could wait. You know, me being a Cancer, I don't typically necessarily play. I could only play the long game for just so long. My long game is really a short game. I'm real good at investigating too, don't get me wrong. And I know stuff intuitively. But like when I busted out my ex-husband, we'll talk about that another time. But I'm just going to give y'all an example of how a Cancer does it. Like, you know, I may or may not have gained some information in, you know, a certain type of way. And, you know, I have all this information. I could only hold it for 2 darn weeks and then I just had to bust it out. I couldn't hold water. I'm not a fixed sign. I'm not like ice. I could not hold that water, child. That information came out, baby, because I was full of emotion. Okay, that's not like a Scorpio, though. See, a Scorpio would have sat there and gathered and gathered and gathered, and at the most opportune time, when Boo Boo the Fool did not think that they really had any, like they really thought they was in, boy, they thought they was winning. Sting! So anyway, this is the long game. So those of us who don't typically play the long game because we're cardinal signs or we're immutable and we just kind of go with the flow, or we're cardinal, we're like, we got to get this stuff started or it's got to end now, right? This is long play. So you got to think about this is for your future. This is probably what we do here. I'm hearing just channeling this now is going to take us through 2025. This is a 5-year plan kind of thing. Okay? The part of the body that Scorpio rules is the genitalia or the reproductive organs. The chakra is the second chakra or the sacral chakra. That's going to be very important. Scorpio is ruled by Pluto, governs both destruction and transformation. A high vibrating Scorpio is very ambitious and enticing. The shadowy side of Scorpio is relentless desire for control. Now you can't hold, child. I can't hold nothing. I'm telling you. Let's think about this for a second, y'all. We have the sun illuminating without emotion all those areas, right, that we need to put the hard work into. We also have Mercury. Hang on, come over here, baby. There we go. Mercury and Venus conjunct right here towards the tail end of Scorpio. So Mercury and Venus have been traveling through Scorpio while we were finishing up Libra season. So if you've been noticing about your personal relationships, then all of a sudden there seems to be very interesting information coming out. All of a sudden you're finding out people's true motivations. All of a sudden you're getting people's true feelings. All of a sudden you're getting the feeling like, I don't think you'll really hear from me. Maybe at work you're finding out that maybe your boss didn't like you quite as much as you thought they did. Or maybe your boss does like you a heck of a lot more than you thought. Maybe you're finding out at work that you have a little bit more power around there than you thought you did. Maybe you're really finding out that you really do or do not like what you're doing. Maybe you yourself are finding out on a personal level what you're really capable of doing and what you really feel like handling and what you really say, you know what, I ain't got time for all this monkey mess. It's time for me to be out. You are learning. You have been learning for the last couple of weeks. If you think about it and you're honest about yourself, you have been doing certain things, maybe unwittingly, that are transforming you. You have been destroying certain things and then transforming from those ashes, rising a phoenix. The eagle is the spirit animal for Scorpio. They are solo flyers and they see from thousands of feet. Eagles soar so high and they see so well. They have very keen vision. And when they get their eyes on their prey, boom, they wait for the opportune time and they go get it. And they will circle their prey sometimes for days, tracking. Tracking. So if you've noticed over the last couple of weeks, while Mercury and Venus have been trotting along in Scorpio going, hey, hey, oh, you ain't about ish. Let me show her that. Oh, you own trash too. Let me show you that. If you've been noticing a lot of secrets about a lot of people that have been coming out. If you've been noticing a lot of governmental secrets coming out. And then noticing how certain parties are trying to cover stuff up, but they can't. And how the general population is really sick of hearing about all this mess. That's that Uranus transit in Taurus. And that's Mercury and Venus in Scorpio saying, boo-boo, let me show you what the real deal is. So all that darkness, that underbelly stuff, the stuff that's been buried deep down, a lot of it's coming up. And I would venture to say that over the last couple of weeks, while Mercury and Venus were in opposition to Uranus, it was at first direct and then it went retrograde. I would venture to say that a lot of you have been making a lot of changes. All of a sudden, you're like, I want to break bad. I need some freedom. Freedom, right? This is the energy. This is the time for the freedom. This is the time for the revolution. This is the time. And guess what? This revolution is about to be televised. Because the spirit is going to show you where and how you should fulfill your revolution. That's the time period we're in. It's time to get out of the nest and fly. It is time to get out of the nest and begin to spread your wings. It is time to cut off of being solely dependent upon spirit, the external, and learn how to create within yourself because you've been given the ability to do it. I'm not saying that we don't need Supreme Spirit for anything. Do not get me wrong. But anybody that's a parent in here, and even if you ain't a parent, you've been parented. A parent teaches a child how to do certain things, not so that that child will be living with them until they're 88 years old and never move out the house. We teach our children certain things, how to live life. So why? So they could go out into the world and live life independently. Yet we are still here just in case you need us. Now, if I had my children here, they would attest to that fact, baby. They would tell us that Mama taught us how to survive and how to function in this world. But if we ever hit a rough patch, she's right here helping. She's right here helping. Spirit is saying, listen, baby, I've been teaching you all this time. I've been teaching you. I've been showing you. I've been helping you. I'm not going away and not taking my hand off of you. But it is time you exercise your power. It is time you make the decision to remove toxic people and situations out of your life. It is time you decide that it's time to finally cut spiritual cords that are holding you and tethering you down and keeping you from ascending to hearing the high-minded, high spiritual wisdom. It is time that you cut the cords that are holding you in this nest and keeping you from listening with your spirit in conjunction with Supreme Spirit. And your third dimensional being finally starts paying attention and listening to you and saying, you know what? Deep down inside, guess what you are? You're a queen. Guess what you are? You're powerful. Guess what you are? You're a king. Guess what you possess? The divine masculine and the divine feminine all wrapped in one. Guess what you can do? You can enact and activate your second chakra to create and birth your life. You can manifest. When I hear people saying all the time, oh Lord, I just need you to move. I need a miracle today. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. When you're a baby. But when are you finally going to decide that you can use your throat chakra and free yourself from those bonds? Free yourself from poverty. Free yourself from toxic relationships. Free yourself from being unhealed, continually hurt. When are you going to decide to free yourself? Now's the time. Now, you're getting kicked out the nest. Don't worry. Mama Eagle's still going to be here. Mama Eagle has also made sure there's some people like me and others that are going to help guide you through this. You're never going to fall. But when are you going to use your throat chakra to kick your sacral chakra in order and start creating? When are you going to unleash your creative manifestation abilities And when are you really going to see what it is deep down inside that you know, that you know, that you know, that you have always wanted to create, and go after it and work for it? Because it don't come easy. You got to put in the work. You got to put in the work for your healing. You have to put in the work when you know what I'm saying? Like, this whole thing takes work. Don't think that what I'm doing right here doesn't take work, because it does. But anything worth having is worth working for. You'll get the guidance if you open up your spirit. I didn't mean to preach a whole sermon tonight, y'all. I really did not. Yes, Raina. Exactly. That's the major transit that's happening here. Okay? That's the major pull. Some people call oppositions different things. I call an opposition a time to, when something is directly opposing to you across the street or across the room, you see it with clarity. And if it's something you want, not only do you see it with clarity, you can see how to get there with clarity. To me, that's what an opposition is. My astrologer friends will kick me in the butt for that. Now, let's move on, because I've been talking to y'all for a hot minute. Okay. I'm going to talk about some of the other aspects here, and there's a purpose behind it. Let's also talk about this. I don't talk about Chiron a lot. That's a major asteroid. Chiron is over here in retrograde. It will be at 0 degrees Aries on the day of the full moon. Chiron is the wounded healer. You can look this up in mythology as well, the mythology of Chiron. Chiron offers all aspects of wellness, physical health, mental health, emotions, and spirituality. It also represents our deepest wound and our efforts to heal the wound. Chiron is named after the centaur in Greek mythology, who was a healer and a teacher. He was above all the other centaurs, who ironically could not heal himself when he was accidentally shot with a poison dagger, because he couldn't believe, and I don't remember who it was, the god that shot him on accident. He couldn't believe he did it. And he was so hurt by the fact that he was accidentally shot that he couldn't heal himself. Chiron represents the point where we have healing powers as the result of our own deep spiritual wounds. Sometimes we can overcompensate in those areas. So basically, okay, a perfect example. I grew up in an abusive household. It was mentally abusive, emotionally abusive. I wasn't physically abused per se, but there was physical abuse that went on in the household. And I've told the story before. My father was a narcissist, and he was, not a very good man until later on in life. But, so I have an affinity towards women, children, people in general, but especially women and children who are in toxic and abusive relationships, and how to regain your power and heal that toxicity, heal those wounds, and then become an empowered soul. That's huge for me. That's a wound. And that very deep wound, because I couldn't fix it in my mother, couldn't fix it for myself, I went through a lot of abusive relationships myself. Once I overcame that and healed those wounds, now it's like a crazy superpower, right? So that's an example. So I want you to think about this, because this is important. First, you must come face to face with the issues of low self-esteem, low self-worth, and feelings of inadequacy, and learn to rise above these issues. There are very potent healing powers that result It is in Aries. It is retrograde in Aries. The first house is all about appearance. Aries is the first house. Appearance, beginnings, the and the overall body, right? First impressions. Aries rules the head and leads with the head. Why is this important? Because if you look, it's not really, I mean, Chiron really isn't aspecting either of these other two. It kind of is chilling out over here. I'm going to tell you why this is so important. Look at what it's doing. It's quincunxing or challenging Mercury and Venus in Scorpio. Mercury and Venus in Scorpio, along with this new moon, along with Uranus, although have a major aspects. What is this saying? This is further confirmation that all the things that you have held so very dear, that you have thought about yourself. You weren't good enough. You couldn't start it. You couldn't complete it. You couldn't do it. You didn't have enough power. You didn't have enough energy. They were always going to win. Never, ever, ever were you ever going to be successful in these areas, these deep wounded areas. You now have the opportunity to take a real good look at that. Where are the personal areas that my third dimensional mind has kept me locked up in? Where's the healing? Where does it have to happen? So that I can be empowered to fulfill my destiny. Wow, Dee Dee. I'm so very glad. I'm going to take a break here for those of you watching the replay. So there are a lot of women, a lot of people that come to me, Dee Dee, that have gone through sexual abuse, emotional, physical abuse. I'm telling you, that's my magnet, right? And helping you all become empowered in healing those deep wounds, so that then you pay it forward and help the next and the next and the next. But Chiron, with the messenger and the lover, Venus is the lover, Mercury is the messenger, is saying, okay, Spirit is showing this to me. It's okay. I can do this, but I really want to break free from all of these bonds. And maybe some of them you thought you broke free from, and now it feels like they're reappearing in your life. They're reoccurring in ways you hadn't seen before. So it's time to do the deep healing, guys. Time to do the deep healing. Hey, Miss Victoria. Okay, so let me summarize this. Those are the major things. Oh, the other major thing I want to talk about to further bolster my theory that this is what we're supposed to be doing. Remember our little North Node in Cancer and our collective South Node in Capricorn? They're both in retrograde. So the things we are supposed to be aspiring to, taking a little bit of a hold, break, pause. Can we get our internal stuff done first before we go off into everybody else? That North Node, South Node axis is giving us a little bit of a reprieve. It's gone into retrograde. Further opening up this portal for us to truly be able to have an open line of communication with our spirit to the universe, our spirit to God, Creator, Beloved, whatever name you would choose to assign. All the while breaking bad, baby. It's time to break free, baby. It's time to let go of all of those things that have been keeping us from being our true self. It is time for freedom. It is time to fly. It is time to get out of the nest and out of our comfort zone. You will not fall. You will not fail. Use that throat chakra. Activate that sacral chakra. Birth in your life. Be the person and the entity you've always known you are meant to be, whatever that looks like. To summarize, this new moon in Scorpio, look at your current situation. and your future, and then your future plans. Okay? With a keen, intuitive, calculated eye. Bear with me. Okay. Look at your current situation and your future plans with a keen, intuitive eye, calculated, because you're going to be planning. Remember, you're playing chess. You're not playing checkers. This is the long game, guys. A lot of the stuff we're doing right now is taking us 5 years out. A lot of the work that we're doing right now, that is a channeled date, is taking us 5 years out to 2025. Where are you going to be 5 years from now? Where's your 5-year plan? And if you don't have one, you better take this time to come up with one. Where do you want to be 5 years from now? Emotionally, spiritually, monetarily, physically. Scorpio brings focus on our sacral chakra. It is the seat of creation, transformation. Think about it. Think about the fact that in the physical, in the sacral chakra area, right? A man and a woman come together. There's an exchange of fluid and hopefully some fun. And in some cases, create an entire different being. And both the male contribution and the female contribution, when they come together, what do they actually do? They both die off. They are destroyed, and then what is transformed from that is another living being. This is also the seat of intimate relationships. I'm going to need you to look at all your intimate relationships. Romantic. Remember, Uranus is the ruler of platonic love. So I'm going to need you to look at your friends list. I'm going to need you to look at that friends list and that acquaintance list. Who should be there? Who is it time to kind of let die? Who is there time where maybe it's time to speed up the transformation of what this was, what this is? The sun and the moon in opposition to Uranus in retrograde in Taurus. Uranus is literally disrupting our routine. It is literally disrupting the routine. It's saying, we're done. I'm really over it right now. We're going to change, and that's just it. That's all. That's the energy that's right now. And if we're fighting that energy and not going with the disruption, it's really hard. Stop fighting against the prick. Uranus is giving us an option to break free. Okay? You always have free will. I'm not saying the planets rule us or that these energies rule us. I'm saying this is the opportunity that's laid before you. You have the option to break free, to grow, and not to die on the vine. Because if you don't break free and grow, if the vine isn't pruned and cultivated, right, it's going to die. If the fruit isn't plucked when it is ripe, it's going to die on the vine. So you have an option. You can still stay stuck on that vine, or you can break free. Uranus is guiding us past the edge of the comfort zone. Taurus and governing the 5th chakra, the throat chakra. Speak it, man. Say it out loud. Be free. Just this aspect alone is enough for us to see where we are being directed to collectively and then hopefully individually. This is the moment where we're being shown spiritually, in a high-minded fashion, the things and routines, the beliefs, friendships, relationships, material possessions that are blocking us from abundance and growth. What intimate relationships do we have right now with people and things? What are we holding on to so dearly that's actually harming us and keeping us from growing? And that's beliefs, everything. I keep going back to that spiritual belief because I believe that I really feel that a lot of us that are going to watch this later on are going to be like, what the hell? I've been holding on to this and that's not true. I've been holding on to this belief of what was spoken over me that I'll never be successful because of the color of my skin or my gender, or that I didn't come from the right side of the tracks. I've been holding on to this belief that I can't have a successful relationship because, I mean, my parents didn't have a successful relationship. I mean, even if they stayed together, all they do is argue, fuss, and fight. They were never happy. What is it? To assist us, the sun and the moon are sextiling the north node that's in retrograde. We're getting a break from a lot of forward evolution to do this inner revolution. We're getting a break from forward evolution so that we can have an inner revolution. Woo! All right, y'all. All right, y'all. So, that's the summation of what I have for the new moon. Lord knows I did not intend to be on here an hour, but that channeled message just wasn't going to wait. We're going to go on and wrap this up, okay? I'll be back on live again probably later on this week. I'm still working through personal, so if you guys are patrons, Patreon, please, I beg your forgiveness. I'm working through it. Work has been crazy. So I'm working through it. Getting all these personals out. Everybody will get their readings before the end of the month. If you do wish to get a lunar cycle forecast and you have your information for your natal chart, you can either go to heartofinspiration.net right now, $29.95, and order it. It's right there on the front page. And then, or you can go to patreon.com/heartofinspiration and you can order it for $30 a month. If you're already a current patron and you want to upgrade, we have found out that it would only charge you the difference between the 30 and whatever it is you're right now. So you can very much upgrade and don't worry about having to repay. But that will give you a monthly lunar forecast. That means the new moon and the full moon. I will give you your own personal transit report and forecast of what you should be focusing on at both lunar aspects, both points in the lunar cycle. If you do that this month, the month of October during Scorpio season here, I will also give you a natal chart interpretation for free. That's $19.95. If you want just a natal chart interpretation as well, for $19.95, you can go to heartofinspiration.net. If you would like tarot readings and whatnot instead, that's totally fine. Just go to my website or go to Patreon. Book it either way, okay? There's many ways to work with me. This is a very important time, guys, and I really have a lot of, I'm pushed. I am pushed to make sure I get this out to as many people and help as many people as I possibly can with this information so that you guys can access all of these. There's an unlocking of some spiritual gifts. We're going to talk about more of that too. There's this unlocking with this portal. The magnitude of being spirit-led and living by the spirit in a third-dimensional world is tremendous. I can't even describe what it is like. But I can just tell you, you don't want to not do this. You want to do your work. And you want to get the healing and you want to grow. Because the surety of foot, as I set one foot in front of the other on a daily basis, is priceless. You don't want to miss this, because a lot of these transits aren't going to happen again for a very, very long time. These are generational transits. And we're being put into a position to help others afterwards. We're being put into a position where we can excel and we can be abundant and we can live a magical, if you will, life, while the rest of the world is trying to figure out how to function. We are being called to be the light in the darkness. In whatever capacity, in whatever place we are, in whatever position we're in. Not all of us are going to do what I'm doing. That's fine. But it's time for you to be the light of where you are. And not be afraid. Okay. So those are the ways you can work with me, guys. Okay. Yeah, we'll leave it there. So again, what is today? The 22nd. So we have 5 days before the new moon hits. So between now and 5 days from now, okay, I'm going to need y'all to order your lunar cycle forecasts. Get that natal chart going. I'm going to be working long hours to do that at my current Patreon, people. Okay? And we're going to be working hard. Let me work for you. Let me channel a private message for you and only you. It is my honor to do so. All right, guys. I'm going to let y'all go. I've held y'all too long already. Okay? We'll see each other again at the appointed time. I'm not going to tell you exactly when, because I don't be lying. But we're going to do the best we can with the time we have. Okay? All right, guys. I love each and every one of you. Peace, love, blessings, and joy be unto you today, tomorrow, and for all eternity. Thank you for liking, subscribing, sharing, and supporting this channel. I love you. Namaste.